The 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 laws we're talking about were created. The Jim Crow laws originally were created because of the 15th Amendment, which was the amendment that gave the former slaves the right to vote, and also said that they and their descendants should have the right to vote. And the response was it was try to create some laws that would be obstructions to that right to vote. And the result of it was there was more than 88 years, the better part of a century, in which they successfully kept the majority of African Americans living in the South in particular from voting, from registering to vote, or from voting for nearly a century. So this voter suppression stuff works, is my point. We need to understand that it is really dangerous to let these kind of laws be put in place and to stay in place. And in the modern era, as we come up with our Jim Crow 2.0, they can be effective, and we're underestimating the threat that these laws present, both in terms of being obstacles to voting, and also now they have something the original Jim Crow laws didn't have, provisions to just overturn elections. So we have to really take this seriously, and the threat now is not just the African Americans. Back when the original Jim Crow was installed, there was kind of a deal between the Democratic and Republican Party. The Republican Party at the time being the home of African American voters. And when they made that deal, the Republican Party, they did well after kind of abandoning the Black people of the South. They went on to elect lots of presidents, control Congresses some of the time. They had a good political future. In 2021, if African Americans are deprived of the right to vote, even partially, if they shave off, say, 5 or 10% of African American voters, remember, most of our elections now are pretty close, that can injure the Democratic Party in a very different way than what happened to the Republican Party in the 19th century. This is a threat to African American voters and to poor voters with low income and Hispanic voters and voters with disabilities, but it's an existential threat to the Democratic Party and to democracy. Because if you knock out a significant part of the Democratic base, you're not going to have Democrats win national control of the Congress or of the White House. And therefore, legislation for health care, for climate change, to protect women's rights, labor rights, you name it, gun control, none of that's happening if you allow another Jim Crow to be established. And that's what we have to understand. That's what we're facing.